All right, we back. We got a microwave right over there. It's a pretty big microwave, but it's in here because we're gonna be moving it. So, anyways, have you ever have you ever had some people, whatever relationship it is to them, being in a romantic relationship, being in a friendship, whatever it is, you ever been in that place where you just want to move on? You don't really want to hang out with them anymore. You just want to kind of move on from them, but you really haven't yet, and you don't really know why you haven't. Well, yeah, I've definitely been there. Been there multiple times, multiple different kinds of people. And so that's what I kind of want to talk about today is just learning how to move on from people and just, not holding on to them. So there's a lot of reasons why you might not want to, be friends with these people. And I think the first question is you got to ask yourself why. Why am I feeling distant from these people? Why do I not want to be around them anymore? Is it because they're just kind of, treating you like crap? Is it because they're, you know, disagreeing with things that you believe in or, even hating on you for that or hating on your beliefs? Or is it just kind of like you don't really, or you don't know? I think a lot of the times if you don't know why you don't want to be around these people or you don't like being around these people, it is usually your fault. Like, not saying it definitely is, but usually it is if you just can't figure it out yourself. If you can't find a reason within them, it usually is you. And I feel that I've definitely been there where, I haven't, just kind of left a friend group, but, it wasn't really them. It was just kind of me changing. Now that can be in a good way and a bad way. You know, your other friends, they might, grow out of you. They might, just, you might, you might lag behind in maturity, I guess is one way to say it. They might be growing faster than you in different areas. They might have different life circumstances. And, you just can't really keep up with them. And, that's all right. Everybody grows at a different pace. Everybody's in a different place in life. And then there's another side of it where you outgrow them, right? And that's really when you do start to see the problems with them usually. But at the same time, there might not be anything wrong with your friends. You've just kind of outgrown them in maturity or wherever you are in life. And, that's also an okay reason, honestly, if, there's nothing technically wrong with your friends, but, you're just not, you just don't feel like you're compatible. That might be a good reason, but at the same time, you shouldn't try to stay with them, right? You shouldn't just, give up on them because, you don't feel like that connection anymore. Especially if they've been friends with you for a long time. Then you shouldn't just throw your friendship away because you guys are at different places in life. Like I have friends that are just like, they're like 5 years older or 5 years younger than me. They're in completely different places, but we're still friends. Even if I don't like interact with them as much, even if they're not like my best friends, they're still there because I care about them. So don't leave them just because you guys are at different stages of life. But that being said, there are things that people do, or people can change their actions, and they can start to do things that you just don't really find acceptable. Like for instance, me as a Christian, if I'm friends or even if I'm dating an atheist and they really are just against Christianity, then I'm like, I don't really want to be around them, because they don't have the same like moral standards as me. They don't understand. They don't look at the world the same as I do, and it causes a lot of problems. And I've been there. I've been in a relationship with, somebody who was, not a Christian, and we disagreed on a lot of things, and it just didn't really work out. For me and for Christians, usually that is a pretty important thing, is finding someone else who is Christian. But in friends, though, it's not, as black and white, really. Your friends don't exactly have to be Christian for you to be friends with them. But if they do actively hate on things that you believe in, like Christianity, then that's where it starts to become a problem. Because even if they don't want to hurt you, even if they're not directly hurting you, if they're hurting something you truly believe in and you strongly believe in, they are hurting you. And you can bring it up with them. You can tell them, hey, I don't want you to talk about this in that way. And if they're, if they listen to you, if they're fine with that, then cool. But if they don't, that's a sign that maybe you shouldn't be hanging out with them as much, right? And friends are so tough because everybody has a good and bad side to them. Everybody has some balance of good and bad, and it's so hard to find, that what point on the scale where that imbalance causes you to not be friends with them anymore. And everybody's different. Everybody has different standards for everybody, but it is still really tough to figure out what you want out of a friend. And that's another thing you should figure out, if before you make this decision, is just figuring out what you want in a friend, and then seeing if your friends that you have already line up with what you want or not. Because that will be a really good indication if you should stay friends with them or not. And then maybe the toughest thing is long-term friends. Like long-term friends, like you've been friends with them forever. That's where it gets really tough because you've been with them through all this stuff, and let's say you've had some friend named Billy. I don't think I know anyone named Billy, but let's say you have your friend Billy and you've been friends since like kindergarten, and then all of a sudden he just he starts going down a bad path. He starts drinking, smoking, doing all this bad stuff, getting involved with gangs, whatever. And you've been friends with him forever, and you love this guy, but at the same time it's like he's doing all these bad things, and you don't really want to be affiliated with that. Well, it is super tough there, but the way I look at it is if they want to improve their life, if they don't want to be in the place that they are, then I'd say that's where you should stick with them and where you should, support them. Because obviously they don't want to be like a crappy person, and if they're trying to get through stuff, then they're going to need some sort of support. And especially if it's like family issues, they're going to need friends to be their support. But if it's somebody that's like accepted that sort of lifestyle and somebody that just, isn't doing great, but, he thinks it's fine, in that situation, I'd say that's where you have to kind of push the brakes and just, cut it off. And, those specific examples, it doesn't have to be where the cutoff is. It's whatever you believe that, is right or is wrong, in a friend, in what they're doing. Wherever you find the cutoff, that depends on you. But you do have to find where that is so you can make these kind of decisions. And then the last thing is to just be open with them about it. You got to be able to talk to them about this kind of stuff, because if there's no communication, they're probably just going to end up leaving you, and it's going to kind of end abruptly because there's kind of no communication and like everything was building up, and it just kind of ends in like anger and hate. So that's why you got to be willing to communicate, so that at least you can try to keep them as your friends. At least you can try to maybe steer them on the right path. And, if they continue on a bad path, you just got to be like, look, man, I don't support anything you're doing right now. I don't think it's a good idea for us to be friends, so I'm going to stop talking to you. And that's completely fine. Obviously, it's good to look out for your friends. It's good to be there for them. But there's a certain point where they are going to be bringing you down, and you're just going to have to cut them off. And that's all right. And there's this one quote that I forget who said it. I don't even know if I just found it somewhere. And it said, if friends were money, I would rather have 5 quarters than 100 pennies. I think that's a good quote. But, that's it. That's the end of the video. I'm actually sweating so much in here. I could turn the truck on, but it's so annoyingly loud that I just don't want to deal with it. So I'm fine with sweating a little bit. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Yeah, that's it. God bless.